Hey guys, I wanted to talk about something about like weeds, for instance. Some people think that clover is weed. I think that they're beautiful. This barberry was something that I had saved. Actually, I gave it to my grandson's father and then he moved, and like not even half of it came back. Like a quarter of it came back because the rest of it all died off. But it's been about 3 years now, and the barberry is coming back. But I just thought, these things that people normally pick and throw in their mulch pile or just grind it up with a lawnmower, leaving things like this for the bunnies and for the bees, it's just beautiful. Yeah, so having some weeds and whatnots, it's not a bad thing. So it's just like this one here. I let this go crazy because of the little bloom, and yeah. So having some wild things in with some of the things you start from seed or some of the things that you buy at your local flower garden nursery, keep your dandelions, keep your plantain for the purposes that they should be used for. And go over and watch Arc Wildman. He has a lot of tips, and Mountain Mama. I'll leave the link to their channels in the description. It's just a really, really good idea to save some of the things that you can use for yourself and for nature. Because if you take everything from nature, nature has to work that much harder. Yeah, and it's good for you too. With the bees, if you're not a flower grower, keeping some of these things that bees go to, it's a good idea. They'll help you out in your garden later on. So we always have sticks dropping from the trees. We still have to have more trees down. We've had some colder nights, and this Christmas cactus has one bloom on it. It's kind of funny. But if you didn't get a better look, there's those clovers. I also leave some. Now we have something crazy happening with the trees. We have to take the blower and or the rake, go across the driveway out here out front. So out here we have this space out by the road. That's a half moon, okay? And I leave this patch for the deer and the bunnies. I don't leave all these weeds. And then as you can see, these pushed out from our trees this year and has made our spring yard look like fall. Yeah, so that's been a thing. Even the driveway is just covered all the way from the road all the way up. I won't show that because our truck's up there, but it goes all the way out there without showing the truck. Well, I can show the truck, just not all of it. So this part comes up from the road and goes up to the driveway, to the garage thingy. So yeah, it's a mess, and it doesn't look that thick, but once you get raking or blowing it up, it gets pretty thick. So I'm gonna take this out where it belongs to get burnt. I've been on high alert outside lately because we do in our town have a rabid fox that last I knew they hadn't caught. Now being it takes 2 to 10 days for that animal to pass of rabies. I'm still on high alert because other animals could have been affected. So, anxious to get that stone. Time is money, money is time. So, but yeah, for now it is what it is. These cabbages, we had a pretty good many hours of rain last night, so I'm not going to water today. And I'm probably not going to water tomorrow, but it's going to depend on how this plant looks. So if this plant gets droopy, I may go water some. But other than that, everything's pretty good. This waterfall garden, our neighbor gave us some, I guess they're like potted bush cucumbers. So like the cucumbers grow in a pot, these particular breed of cucumbers. So Bigfoot and I just started those, I think on Saturday. It was Friday or Saturday. I think it was Friday. Might have been Thursday night, but I think it was Friday. So we'll see how those go. So we're obviously keeping those watered. I emptied the bird bath because the crows yet again have put something nasty in there. And I just kind of tipped it over in there. So the back of this wooded area here, I'm going to hump that up more because it's sunk a lot. But now everything is mulching into soil. So it's mulching down pretty well. If you dig down there, it's really dark and looking good. So when I throw the stuff up here, I'll turn it, get the new stuff down to the bottom, the old stuff up on top, and then once we're ready, we'll throw some new soil to mix in with that on there, and then we can start planting up here. But right now, we're just enjoying the bottom half. And these radishes, we have picked quite a few. And these big ones, we did check them last night, but I threw them into the mulch. They were growing. They were. So we're going to stop picking them and just let them go. See, when these guys got overwatered. See, they're droopy. This is what cow looks like. It gets very droopy instead of... So once these dry out, it'll look more like this one. Nice and happy. But even this one's a little droopy, so it's just full of water, and that's what happens when they get overwatered. The flowers are coming out on that. Yeah. All right, well, back to the radishes. So I thought because these were getting flower heads that they weren't going to grow a radish. I thought maybe I kind of moved past that, but these got like little nettles on them, by the way. Kind of strange. So you can eat the radish leaves when they're little, but I wouldn't suggest eating these ones because they're very pokey and nettly. Maybe if you cook them. I don't know. Let me know if you know. But yeah, it's crazy. And this guy is getting the flower heads. I've been trying to give some of these away. I'm gonna have to start getting them and drying them. The tomatoes, since I lifted some of them up, there's been more that came up from the tomatoes or the potatoes that I lifted up. But the ones that Bigfoot and Littlefoot did are growing in there, which I was surprised. And the peas are doing well. I think you guys have had enough of my tomatoes. I've done lots of videos on the tomatoes. This is our carrots. This is our garlic. These are very big garlics. And these are our peppers. Now Bigfoot said, yeah, see our peppers are starting. They're starting to pepper, y'all. Woohoo! Look at that. That's a banana pepper. Isn't that cute? Yep. We got our first little pepper. And today is June 13th. So, that's pretty good. Yeah, little pepper there. And this is that crazy mix that I had done that I decided to just let it go wild and see what it does. I'm so happy we're getting peppers. Now, that's our green pepper, another green. This is a yellow bell. So those are green bell, yellow bell, and the rest are all banana peppers. Our zucchini are growing well. I stirred this mulch and then I got rained on, but when you're not getting rain, you should water down your mulch piles. It helps with getting that all mulched. I'm losing words today. This lettuce is still doing well, the black-seeded Simpson. This is that mystery tomato that is now doing really well, surprisingly. So I'm gonna have to put something up on that. And then I don't know what we got growing here. Jeez, it almost looks like celery, doesn't it? I don't know. The celery's over here. I guess something could have hopped. I do have more weeding to do. We've got grass and all kinds of things happening in there. This parsley, there's nothing better than fresh herbs, especially parsley. The parsley has it's such a good taste. And this basil, all the big leaves are picked over. I'll show you one of the older ones. But before I do, these cucumbers though, and the green beans. All right, we'll just pass by the tomatoes. Last night I took 4 big tomatoes and we had fried green tomatoes. Oh my goodness, they were so good. So good. All right, where was I going? I was gonna show you guys something. The cucumbers? No. Oh, the basil. Jeez, I'm gonna lose my head. All right, so these are kind of bigger leaves, but they do get bigger. So when you pinch these, the bigger ones, make sure you don't pinch too far down because right behind that are 2 little leaves that are gonna push out new basil leaves. So if you pinch this one, it then gives these 2 little leaves room and the plant energy to grow them out. So when you pinch the bigger leaves, make sure you don't pinch too far down and don't get those little ones. Because by pinching the big one, it promotes these 2 to grow out. So that's how we keep getting the cut and come again with our basil. This was one little stalk and now it's bushed all the way out. This one's doing better out here in the shade. And the ones on the porch, I've got water bottles everywhere. Worse than Bigfoot. They probably are Bigfoots. Those are doing better than this one. This one was a single one, and now it's pushed another one out here, but it's just not as bushy. And it also isn't growing as good out in the direct sun. So I took note of that. And then this purple basil, oh man, let me tell you all what. This purple basil is amazing. Oh man, it's so pretty, but it smells so good. And the taste really packs a punch. It's so yummy-licious. So I'm just gonna take a couple of these older leaves off. Make sure again, nothing's touching the bottom. Anything chewed on, take it off. That's with any plant really. I did have a little paintbrush in here to hold this up, but I think it's doing pretty good on its own now because it's not even touching that. So, yeah. The purple basil's really, really, really cool. I would love to get like a whole patch of this, especially up against this catching fire coral. It's really, 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 really pretty. So all the blooms on this got knocked off of the rain, but there'll be more. There's more coming. I love using what we have from nature. You know, we cut that tree down, but yet we used a lot of it, those two stumps, and then we made the fence, and then we made a walk going up, and then I think we need to level that big one, and maybe sink it in the ground a little bit, but it's a nice place to get up there and set a drink or set your work stuff or sit down and take a break. If you don't sit down and take a break in your garden and sit and enjoy it, it just feels like work all the time, just work. And that's not good because then you're not really enjoying what you've planted, what you've done. And then it seems like more of a job, you know? But yeah, so after 4 years of being here, it'll be 5 years and August 15th. We're finally doing some gardening stuff other than just kind of planting in these beds. We started the mulch instead of having it out in the wood. We made a designated place for one. Over the years, I'm sure we'll add more. There's a lot of cleanup on our property to still do. There's a lot of work to still do in the house. But again, if you don't take some time to enjoy what you do, then it's just not worth it anymore. You know, I mean, work is work. But if you don't take some time to enjoy moments, it's just work. So, just like the tomatoes, getting excited about tomatoes. I'm a girl that likes tomatoes. Yeah, but it's nice creating little spaces, even though they don't look that great yet. Just little spaces to sit there and look at what you have and what you've already accomplished and making plans for your next step. You know, we don't do that much with the wood area, but, you know, especially now that we have the wood pile surrounding the whole thing. But it's a nice area to have. You know, we can still get out there and we got a little trail that Bigfoot put this in front of it, but you can walk around there and get out there and trot around and get those widowmakers picked up and bring them out. And I call this the junk pile. You can add it to the junk pile. Just so you know, when the pine needles are like this, they burn up like sparklers, so don't do too many at a time. Also, when your pine needles are green, they are acidic, but when they fall to the ground and turn brown, they're neutral. So your soil doesn't mean it's acidic just because you have a yard full of pine needles. It becomes neutral when it gets mixed in with the dirt and they turn brown. It's something that Bigfoot learned this year, and yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, that's what's happening here. It's too hot right now. Either I'll do it later or I'll do it tomorrow morning. I need to start raking and or blowing the yard out of those pine things that have fallen because I need to mow. Yeah, but it's not like out of hand. So, and we can let our lawn grow up and have a field if we want to. Nobody says anything, but I prefer it not to be because the snakes. And funny story, went to my daughter's and there was 3 snakes in her yard. And my husband, Bigfoot, was like, nope. He does not like snakes. Now me, I'll reach down, grab them. He don't like that. They don't bother me. But having areas around your home where things like that, TJ Preps actually put up a video this morning where she had that, like that gardening paper down, and the snakes were under it. So if you have bushes and whatnots and places around your home, crawl spaces, they can get in there and get into your home. Or when you're out and about, be sure that you know what kind of snakes you have, because not all of them are black racers, or, you know, which is like your typical rat snake, or gardeners. Up here we have your timber rattlers. Actually, right now, there's many places up here that are having a really bad time with the timber rattlers. So, and there was another rattler too that my stepdad sent me something about. So yeah. And again, they're in people's yards and around your home. Also, our lakes. You know, you're out there in a canoe or your kayak or your regular boat. Those timber rattlers, when it gets hot, they swim your lakes. So say no to the nope ropes, because some of them are venomous, poisonous. All snakes can give you a staph infection. But some of them, like timber rattlers, you're going to have to go to the hospital and get like an antidote. So they can be deadly. And the bears are out. Bears are all over the place. And that fence ain't keeping no bear out. Just saying. Or fox, or coyote, or deer. Deer can jump that. Yeah, deer can jump really, really high and a long ways. So, all right, well, enough of my rambling. I'm going to get back to it and go bring in this stuff, wash it, and put it in a plastic bag with a wet paper towel, and we'll use it later or tomorrow, or if we don't, I can dry it out and put it in a shaker and call that good. Bigfoot's home. He worked on the island today, so it's an early day home because it was an early day out. Love you all. Talk to you later.